Morning, afternoon.
Probably afternoon by now. We've had a morning of shopping and emptying the boat of things that shouldn't be on it, like
Garbage.
So our plan is to head towards Gaul. We think it'll take 2 or 3 days because there's an awful lot of swing bridges and a couple of locks.
There's just the lock that's in front of us, the Thorne lock over here, which has its own swing bridge. And then we need to stop and get some LPG gas, if possible, because we've got an empty bottle. We got our BSS done. We succeeded at that. Yay. Didn't tape anything because due to the COVID situation, we weren't even allowed on the boat. So we were just sitting outside.
Poor Michael was stuck outside. I went to the park with George and then I went to Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
We were just locked out of our own boat while someone had a good old nose around.
Yeah.
Very weird.
So literally all I could have done was like some running commentary of nothing whatsoever while the boat occasionally rocked as somebody walked up and down it. So sadly, didn't tape that whole process. But it was a fairly straightforward process, and we passed with one little bit of work having to be done on a gas hose in our gas locker that had deteriorated to the point of not really being sound anymore.
And it shouldn't have been a hose anyway, should it? It should have been a pipe.
Yeah. So basically, instead of a 2-bottle system right now, we now have a 1-bottle system that's simpler and has the proper hosing on there.
It's safer.
Yeah, because it looks like it was a cheap bodge job the first time, and the hose that they put on there was not designed for the task at hand. So,
and you should definitely not bodge gas.
No, yeah. So anyway, we're good now.
In other news, we've started a second. Some of you probably already know. Some of you are probably already subscribed. We started a second channel for our YouTube videos, and the idea came about because someone stole our one time-lapse video and put like commentary on top of it that was completely unrelated to what we were doing and was problematic.
And they literally stole the entire video. They just took the whole thing and incorporated it into a video that was, let's just say, not subject matter appropriate.
The thing is, if they'd stolen it and done something good with it, I'd been like, all right, fair enough. Especially because it didn't have that many views. Yeah,
or if they'd even done any kind of effort to do sort of a fair use, like recontextualize and just take a portion of it.
Or credit us. Or
but whatever. They just took the full video and they did nothing to it except for put a title on the end that was complete idiocy. And then, put their rambling dialogue over top. So, and YouTube sent us a thing saying, hey, your exact video is in this whole section for like 11 minutes. What do you want to do about it? So we did a copyright hit.
And we did the nice one where if they took it down, they wouldn't get a strike.
And they took it down.
So that was good.
But anyway, it made Joe think.
It gave me the idea that if people are just going to watch this stuff with commentary of randomness in the background, they might just want to watch our time lapses anyway. So I thought I would edit all of our time lapses, because we've got 300 odd cruising time lapses, into separate videos. But then I didn't want to put them on our minimalist channel because I know not everyone wants to see those videos, and I thought if every other video we put out was just a time lapse, it might confuse the channel a bit. So I thought we'd do a dedicated channel for it.
Yeah, and it'll be cool because when we get to the end and we finished it, we can put out one ridiculously long video that is just a time-lapse of England's canals.
The only sad thing is we didn't start using the time-lapse cameras until we were on the Thames, so I was really gutted when I realised we don't have any of the Basingstoke or any of the Way
in time-lapse.
Yeah.
Which means we might have to revisit Basingstoke and the Way.
And then to start with, the ones I've done so far anyway, because what we do now is we put the time-lapse on as we leave and we turn it off when we finish and we change the batteries, but it's constantly going. But in the beginning, we've just got like sections of the cruises. We don't have the whole thing. So for these first videos, they are a little bit shorter and not complete. So it was fun because I've done the ones on the Thames and I'm like trying to work out which locks they are, and it has been interesting. But.
Yeah. So anyway, that's minimalist maximal velocity.
Michael's title, I came up with minimalist maximum speed. Well, I didn't like the word speed in it because, I don't know, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And
we're not actually moving any faster. You're just seeing it quicker. So
and you came up with maximal velocity.
Maximal velocity, just because it's so ridiculous.
So if you are interested, I'll link it below, and we'd love it if you could pop over and subscribe and give us some support on that channel. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. then if you don't want to watch time lapses, just stay here.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's the whole reason we did it on a second channel, is because we knew that not everyone would want it.
Anyway, so today we got to go up to the New Junction Canal and then up in the direction of Goole. And yes, as Joe said, there's a bunch of swing bridges, including one, Sykehouse, I think it is, which is involved in some sort of repair right now. So there's like
possible delay of 60 minutes.
Yeah, which means we might just get there and more up.
Yeah, I don't think we should push to go far today.
Yeah, like we're not going to.
It's already half the day.
We're going to try and get past the Don Aqueduct because there is a few days of rain forecast, and when there's enough rain, the Don Aqueduct closes.
Lovely. It starts to rain just as we leave the mooring. Not the best start to the cruise. The lock's only a few hundred metres away, so George and I walk. And it's a push button lock, so it's minimum effort to get it drained and opened. Two boats turn up behind us, and we feel pretty bad as they're clearly travelling together. One of them joins us in the lock, and the crew from the other boat come to help out. This is the lock where the whole class of school children came to watch Michael go through in February. Needless to say, it's much quieter today. The swing bridge above the lock can only be swung once the top gates are open. And the other boaters kindly swing the bridge for us. We were going to stop at Stanaland's Marina to get a gas canister, but there's a wide beam on the service point, so we decide to carry on instead. Michael picks George and I up as it's a long way to the next swing bridge. The boat that was in the lock with us is travelling at tick over, and they wave us past. They must be waiting for their marina buddies. Ahead is the huge motorway bridge for the M18. Luckily, the duckweed at the Kidby end of the canal hasn't made it this far. There's just a few lily pads, which look much nicer. There's the village of Fish Lake in the distance where my dad grew up. I'd probably get in trouble if I didn't mention it, so there it is. There hasn't been much progress on this housing development since we passed through in March. In fact, the buildings look worse than they did then. here we pass through Stainforth. I'm sure it's a lovely stop on a sunny day. Just over the bank there is the River Don. After Stainforth Swing Bridge there's a service point, and we spontaneously decide to stop and fill up our water tank. We meet some very friendly and helpful CRT staff, and some viewers, and a viewer who works for CRT, so we have lots of lovely chats while the water tank is filling. You can actually see the guillotine gates of the Don aqueduct from here. We'll be passing under there shortly. It's quite an unusual lock. There's 3 sets of gates, meaning that it can be used by much longer boats. The first set of gates are kept open, and obviously we only need the smaller chamber. The lock is pretty slow to empty as one of the paddles is out of action at the moment. And then we fill it pretty slowly too. I cautiously open the paddles very slowly to avoid creating too much turbulence inside the lock. Ahead is Bramouth Junction. Turn left for the new junction canal and turn right for the main line of the River Don navigation. As we travel down the last few hundred metres of the Stainforth and Kidby Canal, we can see a boat cruise past the end. They're going the same way as us, so we hope they spot us so we can all share the work on the many swing bridges ahead. The Don Aqueduct is quite fascinating. When the river below is in flood and then fall higher than the level of the canal, the guillotine gates are lowered to prevent the river water flooding into the canal. Instead, the river crosses above the canal instead of under it, and of course that means the canal has to be closed to traffic. The river's really low today, and the water from the canal is trickling over the sides of the aqueduct. While George definitely prefers walking, he seems to be enjoying the cruising much more these days. By the time we get to the next big bridge, we've caught up with the boat in front of us, and they very kindly hold the bridge for us. When there's a series of swing or lift bridges together, it's so nice to travel with another boat, so you can leapfrog past each other, taking it in turns to stop and operate the bridges. These lovely boaters are on exactly the same wavelength as us. At Top Lane Lift Bridge, it's my turn. Michael pulls over to pick me up while the other boat goes ahead to prepare the next bridge. As the person who usually operates the bridges for Narrowboat Perseverance, it's very nice to relax on the boat while someone else does the work. The next obstacle is Sykehouse Lock, and it's fair to say that its instructions confused me for a second. There was a lockkeeper working when we came the other way, so I haven't done this one before. It's not actually complicated. There's just a lift bridge in the middle of the lock, and you need to operate that before you can operate the lock itself. I'm just not reading the instructions properly. It's a huge lock, so it's really nice to be sharing it with another boat. On automated locks like this, you just press the open sluices button once and the mechanism cycles through, gradually letting more water out. These markers indicate how far the sluices have been opened. And here's the water emptying into the navigation below the lock. It's our turn again, but some work's been carried out on Sykehouse Lift Bridge and it's been left open, so that's one less job for me. It's an extra bonus because that's the last movable bridge and we're going to stop on the moorings here for the night. So here we are at Sykehouse Road Lift Bridge moorings, where we stayed. Going that way?
Yeah.
About 6 months ago.
Long time ago. Short distance. Long time. Yeah. It's been fun to get onto the new Junction Canal.
Dead straight.
Dead straight. Yeah. I'm not saying that the new Junction Canal itself is all that exciting. It's just that it's fun to be like, sort of exiting.
It's a shame we didn't get round the corner, because if we'd got round the corner, that would have been new.
Yeah,
But never mind.
true.
It's like 5:30 or nearly 6 o'clock, and we're tired. It took longer than expected.
And right after we made the turn, I was like, I'm really regretting not stopping at Barnby Dun to get the curly fries.
The
with
paprika fries.
paprika.
Yeah, like you didn't remember them until after we made the turn.
As soon as I made the turn, I was like, oh. Well, too bad.
Too bad.
Too bad. But if you get to Barnby Dun, which most of you probably won't, but if you get to Barnby Dun, walk into town and get the curly fries with paprika on them. It was a fun day.
It was pretty good, considering that it rained as soon as we left.
Yeah, rained as soon as we left, but it's been just, like, right now it's just sort of drizzling.
Yeah, and we've actually travelled with boats, which we haven't done in forever, since
6 months.
Since the Sheffield in South Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah, we did a little bit there.
But that was Christmas time.
That's true.
Yeah, so 6 months.
Yeah.
And, so we met two boats that were actually travelling from Thorne. So I felt a bit bad because they were travelling as a pair and then we jumped in front of them. So we were in the lock with one of them, but then we stopped at Stainforth and got water. Or Bramith, I think it is. So they got to go back together again, so that's fine. And they were lovely about it. And then just as we were coming, we made the turn from the Stainforth and Keedby onto the New Junction Canal, another boat went past. So that was really good because then we could leapfrog at the movable bridges and the lock. And the lock was hilarious. It's a huge lock and it's got a swing bridge in the middle of it, which is fine. And I got to the instructions and I couldn't find where to put my key in because usually there's just on the control panel by the top gates or the bottom gates, whichever side you're on, there's you put your Waterways key in and there was nowhere to put the key. I was looking at it, I was looking round, I was looking underneath it, and it didn't make sense. I read the instructions about three times and it said something like, put your key in the control panel next to the bridge. And it just didn't compute in my head that I wasn't next to the bridge, I was next to the gates, because the gates have bridges. So I'm like, this is the bridge. And then eventually it clicked. And I had to go to the swing bridge in the middle of the lock, put the key in there.
And you depressed the button. You were pressing on the button before you went over to the swing bridge.
Yeah.
And I think it's when you powered up the swing bridge that
it was
the
like a
lock
delayed
ran
reaction.
up and then down.
Yeah,
I don't know what the heck that was all about, because you were working on the swing bridge and unassisted, uncontrolled, uncommanded, the lock gate on the right hand side, the sluice just opened itself, went full open, and so there was a lot of water running into the lock, and then it fully closed itself again. But nobody had pressed any buttons while the power was unlocked, so I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I was looking up into the control booth being like, did we miss it? Was there somebody still up there?
Yeah, because that's why we didn't know, or I didn't know how to do it, is because when we came through last time, it must have been a day when the XL Pride was moving, because there's a lock keeper. So there's no lock keeper today.
Yeah, well, it was a day when the XL Pride was moving, because we pulled into the mooring
and then the
XL Pride came through. So yeah.
But it's fine. If you read the instructions and actually comprehend what they say, it's fine.
It's always the hard part. You're reading and comprehending.
I was just, like, I wasn't in a rush, but, like, because there was another boat as well, I kind of felt the pressure to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
But they're off now. They're
going to Gaul as well, but they've...
they're way down that way.
But yeah, we've had enough.
And it's nice and pleasant here. Lots of birds in the trees making singing and stuff. There are lots of herons on the way down here.
Lots of games of heron or statue going on, even though lately not going to be a statue in the countryside.
No, it's funny. There's actually been a number of times where we've come across fake herons that are there to, like, I don't know, scare off birds or whatever.
Or just look nice.
Or look nice, yeah. And it's like, the kind of like a pink flamingo but higher class. and then it never moves. And then you see one just standing there doing its thing, fishing. And you're like, oh, I think it's just another one of those things. And then it takes off at the last second. And it's a little bit surprising. Because they really know how to stand still.
Yeah.
Must be boring. Anyway.
I don't think it's boring. I think they're looking for fish.
Yeah, but I mean, that must be boring.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's people down there looking for fish.
True that. Fair enough. It's a gene I'm lacking. So apparently there's something that both herons and anglers have in common, where it's just like, okay, just waiting for the fish.
Right, I'm really hungry.
It's like a Buddhist thing. Right, you're hungry, I'm hungry. So thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, including to Minimalist Maximal Velocity. and hit that bell if you want to get notifications.
Emptying the boat of things that shouldn't be on it, like
Garbage. And, well, and the dog. He's technically over there right now, not on the boat, so we can count that. Yeah. So, well, no, he's not garbage. I know. It's beautiful, wonderful dog. He's just a wonderful dog who doesn't want to be on the boat at the moment, so shouldn't be on the boat, technically. I don't know.
Why?
Let's get this back in Indiana Jones look instead of Popeye Doyle. That's better.
Well, I'm waiting for Indiana Jones.
Oh, Jesus. But you find me a refrigerator, I'll survive a nuclear blast.
We are Sykehouse Road Lift Bridge moorings.
Yes.
Let me say that again. We are at Sykehouse Road Lift Bridge moorings.
So nice you had to say it twice.
Yeah. I'm going to edit that out so that doesn't make sense now. It's so annoying. I said it a third time.
So here we are saying it a third time because Michael's the most annoying human being to ever. Say it again.